A nice Sunday morning here from the Palladium in Champéry, Switzerland. Unfortunately, it's not quite that clear out there this morning. Foggy and lots of rain. Winter is coming. We're here with semi-final action from the Champéry Masters. Team Van Dorp against Team Drummond. Carlo Glassenberg, Lawrence Hokenman, Walter Goskens, Van Dorp, and Michael Goodfellow, Gregor Cannon, Greg Drummond at skip playing third rocks, and Ross Patterson throwing the fourth rocks for the Scottish team. Both these teams qualifying last night in their respective, and here we see the quarterfinal games. Van Dorp with a surprise win over Brewster, who had a 5-0 record going in that quarterfinal game. And Drummond Mount, very close game, very tight one, equally matched, but Drummond coming out with a lead in that. And so that quarterfinal. On the other quarterfinal, Edin easily defeating Staley. And Malbergs with a steal of 3 in the last end against Pfister to take that game away from the Swiss team, qualifying for the other semifinal. My name is Armin Harder. We're here with the World Curling Tour and WCF TV, World Curl TV coverage. With me again this morning is Brad Askew, national coach of the Czech national team. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning, Armin.
Thanks for making it up and joining the commentary this morning. I looked out the window this morning. I didn't really want to go anywhere.
Well, I had a downhill trip with my luggage, so that's okay. I picked up a head of steam and got down here pretty quickly in the rain.
And we're underway here with the first rock. Drummond having the hammer, playing yellow.
3-12.
And the Dutch playing the red rocks.
So,
you know both these teams a little bit.
I know them, yeah, quite well, especially
Brett?
the Scottish team.
Tell us a little bit about what you expect out of these.
The experience has got to be with the Scottish team. You've got 2 world silver medalists, 2 Olympic silver medalists on the team in Michael Goodfellow and Greg Drummond. Youngest member of the team, newly joined the team, is Gregor Cannon.
Just for our viewers, that's the former David Murdoch team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with Team Brewster as well. They were world silver medalists with Tom Brewster as skip. So this is Michael Goodfellow throwing. He's been playing lead on the Scottish Elite, so I keep saying our still, even on the Czech Republic.
You're Czech now.
Yeah, I've got to move on to the next one. He's been an elite lead for years in the program, playing at the very highest level with their world teams and Olympic teams. On the right side of the screen, you see Ross Patterson. He's normally a front-end player. This is the first season he's moved to play last stones.
He nailed the button in his last rock last night in that close game.
Yeah, he's a great sweeper and great shot maker. So this is the first time that they're trying him playing last stones, and it's worked very well this season. They've had a good record. Off to a slow start, but they've picked up steam and they've never looked back. And this young Dutch team have come up together through juniors. They've been together for many, many years.
And they're still very young.
Yeah, still very young, just literally out of juniors.
I think some of them are still, would be actually of junior age, if I'm not mistaken.
I think one of them might be. I know Lawrence
just turned 16 last.
Yeah, and Carlo are out of juniors now.
Yeah. And they're coached by Sherry Leibrandt. And the Scottish team head coach David Murdoch, their former skip, is now on the bench. That's an adjustment, going straight from playing to coaching.
Yes, he was saying that we were teasing him because he was working with multiple teams here, and up on the coach's bench he was running back and forth from one game to the other, keeping warm. But he's used to being down on the ice, so he's seeing this from a new view.
I'm in what way?
Yeah, and there's a lot of different factors as a coach that you wouldn't necessarily have as a player, or the other way around, I think.
Okay, good way.
So both of the teams will be playing straightforward shots this first end, trying to make sure that they understand the speed of the ice, understand the swing of the ice.
Yeah, we got 4 rocks played and 4 rocks in play, so it's promising. Lawrence Volkman.
Lean. Yep. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, whoa. Roll him out, Chippy.
A little bit wide on that stone, didn't quite swing over, so it's rolled out the side of the house. Okay, Scotland are going to try to shift this stone a little bit further out from behind this guard.
Here we see the coach's bench. Sherry in the middle, David Murdoch on the left.
We're good. Whoa, 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 whoa. Carl.
Sherry, originally
Hard, Carl.
a Canadian girl, has been living in the Netherlands for many years.
Okay, again a little bit too far. The ice looks a bit straighter today. That last night I think that would have swung over and stuck in, but both those stones have rolled out the side, so the stones just hung a little bit straighter than they were expecting.
You're probably happy that you're not on the coach's bench now, because I think it's a little colder in that building this morning. The temperatures outside, of course, have dropped quite a bit.
Less teams on the ice. So
Top 4.
Lawrence Hochman.
We started the weekend with 22 degrees outside, and we're down to 6 now. That's quite a change. These sweepers will get a little bit of heat in this ice, and we see a nice shot there.
That jacket won't be on long. A couple of good sweeps.
I hardly recognized Greg yesterday because he's all bundled up in that skip position. Usually you see him in a t-shirt.
Big weight coming down here now.
Oh, straight back.
Yeah, again they were expecting a little bit more swing out of that. Hit it right on the nose. So there'll be a little bit of an adjustment. There's some quick learning happening in this first end. They're obviously going to have to slightly change the weight of the ice.
Maar ik denk dat het echt goed is, ja. Ja, op het einde had hij helemaal niks meer. Het is gewoon opletten. Het is voor mij daarom misschien iets langer doorgeleid. Maar gewoon 3 back 4.
I got back 4.
I was just going to say, we were getting better at our Swedish. Now we've changed languages.
Yeah, well, the Dutch, yeah,
luckily
I could pick up some of the Dutch.
Luckily, the Dutch they speak absolutely fluent English, so I'm sure that'll pop up every once in a while.
Should have told them to call in English.
Woohoo! Killed me. Eromheen. Carlo, yep. Hard. Yep. Oh. Okay. Still a run, Ross. You like the run? See that, you play this. Yep.
So they're going to run this straight back. They've seen that the ice is running quite straight, so they'll take tight ice. It's a shot Mr. Drummond loves to play.
Line. Whoa. Line. Never off. Never off! Never off! Whoa! Whoa! Go, mate. Go hard on the roll.
There we go. Roll the stone to the side. That's a nice result from that. Nearly under the guard.
Good sweep, mate.
Greg's got a lot of experience. He's a junior. He skipped his own team before moving to Vice for Glen Muirhead while they were still in juniors. Then he joined Team Team Brewster, then Team Murdoch. So he's worked with some of the best in Scottish curling.
Right, they were in Basel in was it 2012 or so? Won the silver medal, lost to Ross Howard in the final.
3 silvers in a row, so they've had a good run, and an Olympic silver to top it all off.
No lack of experience, that's for sure.
Yep.
Greg's brother curls as well. He's off in Canada now as an ice maker at the Calgary Curling Club. We had the pleasure of seeing him when we went for training before the World Mixed Doubles in Lethbridge this past season. So a curling family. So Greg can see quite a bit of this stone. Going to throw a little bit softer weight at this.
Whoa. Line. Whoa. Line. Whoa. Whoa. Line. Big line. Line. Big roll, Pete, if you can. Under roll. Big roll. Big roll. Ah. Good. Nice throw. Sorry, Ross, you're right.
Hij blijft eerst hangen op die center en dan gaat hij, denk ik. Jo.
It's been a big change in the ice overnight. I think the temperature and the humidity has really changed the play. When we came for the training day, seemed a long time ago now, we came for the training day a few days ago, we were getting a good 6-foot swing. And it was a struggle to actually hold the stone onto the line, but now it's straightened up a little bit, so it's a little bit more predictable for the players, although it makes it a little bit more challenging to swing around behind tight guards.
Yeah, the temperature change outside has been extreme over the last couple of days. When we got here on Thursday, it was mid-20s, very sunny.
Clean.
We've gone from autumn to winter in the space of 3 days.
Yeah.
It'll be snowing by the time I head for the
yeah,
train.
Yeah, I want to get out of here as soon as we can. Don't want to see any snow.
Helemaal niks. Helemaal niks. Helemaal niks.
It's a beautiful spot when there is a layer of snow everywhere. And they got all sorts of hundreds of kilometers of skiing. They call them lanes. I'm not a skier.
Well,
Piste.
tracks.
Tracks.
Yep.
Piste, yeah. Here in Port du Soleil. Are you a skier?
I am.
Right.
Well, I skied for many, many years, and then we took a holiday in Chamonix, and we decided as a bit of a joke to have a 2-hour snowboarding class, and I loved it so much I've never been back on skis, and the person I shared the class with hated it so much he's never been back on a snowboard. So we went our own directions after that 2 hours. But I do like snowboarding.
Whoa, whoa! Whoa, whoa! Whoa! Off! Off! Never!
No, this is obviously popped a little bit
Whoa,
wide and
yep.
not curling.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Waiting, stepping back and waiting for it to swing. There we go.
Good.
Well judged.
Yep.
Can still see the edge of that, and if it's running straight, it should be not much of a problem to pick this out. There you go, you can see that, but a quarter of the stone, third of the stone.
Ja, klopt.
It's looking at some of the statistics here from the event. Over 60% force efficiency for Drummond.
Oh, af! Hij is heel wijd. Nooit.
Pretty good.
Af!
Get those numbers up there like that.
Af!
It's a very important part of the game to be able to force your opposition to take a 1
Okay.
when they've got the hammer. Don't let them get the
Nee, niks.
advantage of
Goed.
2 or more points.
And the hammer efficiency at 50% for the Dorp team, which is pretty good too. Hammer efficiency 37% for Drummond.
Yeah, I think so, mate.
Guess if your hammer efficiency is low, you better have a high force efficiency, right?
You got to have one or the other. So Drummond are going to walk away from this end. Take this out, blank, move into the next end, maintaining their hammer.
Where go, mate? Hard line.
Last
Hard
rock
line.
here in the first end.
Really hard. Really hard.
Ross Patterson
Good. Nice sweeping.
There we go.
makes the blank, so they score after one end of play. 0-0. And Drummond maintains the hammer going into the second end. That's what I like to see. Them skip, run right up there and put that score up. That's good.
Well trained. You can see the
A good
modern.
third.
Sorry, I was going to say, Armin, you can see the modern face of the game of curling there. Laptops, cameras. The gentleman on the left is the sports psychologist working with Sport Scotland. He works with the elite teams and Olympic men's teams. Misha Balting.
Misha, right? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Have had lots of conversations with him over the years. Very interesting man. originates from Moscow, and I think he had lots to do with ballet.
He did.
I believe.
That's his background, but he's an elite sports psychologist now.
Yeah.
During the round robin games, the players are mic'd up so the sports psychologist can monitor the conversation, the team dynamics, the communication, trying to find every little advantage. With these teams all playing at such a high standard, you're looking for every little percentage advantage you can get to take you to the top. So the teams will have a bit better understanding of the ice now. We'll see how aggressive this end is.
Taking mid 12 foot here to go to the center, so they seem to think it's curling that much. Let's see if that's the case.
Nice goed. 12 vocht. Kijk, kan nog niet veel. Wouter, top 8. Scheelt weinig. Top 8.
This is usually about the point it kicks over now. There we go.
Big swing at the end.
Yep. About a brush length off the hog line, it really starts to move. Okay, so the down weight stones, the draw weights are swinging big. Not quite to the center. I think edge of the 8 foot would probably put you on the button.
Dat should be fine.
So good 4 foot swing. That's nice and readable.
It's nice to see this young Dutch team developing so well. They've done well on the tour in the last couple of years, especially for such a young team. And when you think 15 years ago, there wasn't even a curling club in the Netherlands. They used to have to go to Hamburg to play the national championships to find some decent ice.
They've made a smart investment in spending some time in Canada. That's the real proving ground. Once you feel that you need to make that next step, you go and test yourself against some big Canadian teams. And that really moves you on. Different way of thinking, playing against teams you don't really know, so not predictable. It's a good challenge. Many teams do that when they hit a certain point in their career.
Well, and also the Curling Champions Tour in the last 15 years has brought to a lot of high-level events.
Really has done, yeah.
Into Europe.
It's been great for European curling, really pushed the standard.
These teams like Edin and those teams grew up in that league.
1 goed. 2, 3. 2. 2. Wouter. Wouter.
I remember sending Edin the first time to a slam in Canada many years ago. They wore funny hats and things like that.
I remember that. I've seen pictures.
And at the time, Paul Boudelier was the president of the World Curling Tour, and he's going, "Oh, who are these guys?" I said, "Just watch them; they'll be fine."
Yeah, they
look at them now.
They enjoy their Viking heritage, as you can see from the Edin's jerseys they wear, with the Viking plastered across the front, in full horn helmet.
Don't have the hair thing going that the Costa team
No.
does.
No, that's a specialized sport in itself. So this guard is up quite high. Scotland can see most of it, so they can move this out from behind the guard and get a roll. A little bit down weight there, I think.
Yeah, that's great.
So the Dutch got a choice. They can roll either way. They're going to take this off to the side, I think. Lorenz Hochman. I had the pleasure of coaching these young Dutch players at Fussen Summer Camp, World Curling Federation Summer Camp many years ago. That's where I properly met them.
There's a nice roll.
Bit too far, but that's a long way to go.
Right, you can go as deep as T-line. Top 4 T-lines. You're far from what Mikey's through.
I prefer to have rolled behind the center guard, of course. Not having the hammer. They run a summer camp in the curling club in the Netherlands too. The
Sweet Lake. Sweet Lake. Yeah.
Have you been?
No, I haven't.
Sure.
It just sits at the wrong time of year for me because I've got training camps. Coached many times at the Fussen World Curling Federation Summer Camp and at the Prague Adult Camp, but not had time at Sweet Lake.
Sherry Leibrand, the coach of the Dutch team, very involved in that one, of course.
So that stone didn't get into the position they wanted, either behind that guard or locked more onto that red stone. So it's left a little pocket for the Dutch to come down and sit on.
Drawing down to this. Never like drawing around corner guards when I got the hammer. When I don't have the hammer though. Especially you got a center guard to work with. This is pretty wide.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm going to struggle to swing this onto it. Here it comes now. Big finish.
I'm going to leave it high.
Yep. Hard. Hard.
It's fully out in the open now, so they're going to Scotland are going to want to move this over and just flop a little bit to the side, try to tuck under that.
Might have been better if they left that a half meter shorter, right?
Yeah, I think it's where Scotland wanted to go is up into the top toe foot, about 2 feet shorter than that, and a little bit further over. But yeah, they're going to give an opportunity now for Scotland to touch this one and settle over behind that guard.
Good look at Cannon.
Needs to go. Gotta go. The wrong side of the guard. We get to the yellow. Keep going. Make it down. Okay.
Well, that wasn't a strong throw.
He was literally meaning the wrong side of the guard.
The literally wrong side. Yeah, that's come up miles
short. Trying to
short.
wonder what that term was, but now we know. Now he's going behind the center guard, I hope.
Ja, precies. Liever iets te zacht.
Yeah, they're going to come down on the other handle and bring the fight to the center.
Would you maybe draw there with the in-turn instead of the out-turn to come around that center guard?
Well, I'd come around the other side so we can sit to the top corner of the forefoot.
It's problem here is if you leave it open, they got to hit and roll behind the corner again.
Yeah, I would have come around that other side and sat just off the button. This is going to be totally open. It's not going to get buried. It's a little bit too deep, a little bit too wide, maybe a bit too much ice. It's not swinging as much. You don't like to slip behind the tee line because it gives the opportunity for the opposition to come down and lock onto that, make it difficult to get rid of. So that would have been better higher and further to the right. But Scotland can see that entire stone. So they're going to come down with the weight they attempted last time and just push this out the back and flop a little bit to the left underneath that guard. If this shot works out, I can see they'll still be back tee, so I can see the Dutch wanting to come down and freeze on top of it, corner freeze on top of it, make it difficult to remove.
Gotta go. Really gotta go.
This is hanging wide.
Really gotta walk it.
Just hanging wide. I think he's missed this.
Sweeping for the curl, and it never did pick up any.
Okay.
So there's obviously a straight track down that side. That's something they're going to have to be aware of.
Yeah, that didn't move at all. This ice, of course, has been seen a lot of use in the last few weeks. About a week ago, we witnessed the final of the World Mixed Championships take place here. Could be the longest curling ice has ever been in an arena, maybe. It's been in here for
it's been well used, that's for sure.
4 weeks.
You've had 24 teams battling it out over the last couple of days as well, so it's been pretty heavily worked.
Yeah, a little less weight and it does curl.
Here it comes now. They're going to want to sit.
Again, they take it behind the tee line.
Yeah, again, it slips a little bit too far. They were trying to lock that on, but it over-curled slightly at the end and left a bit of a gap.
They were there. Were they? I thought they were a bit more than that, but okay. Well, we know ourselves from what you've been giving Mikey. Yeah. The edge of that red rock. No, the other edge.
There's the coach and the psychologist having a little chat.
The line's really good. That's like, no, give me less, Ross. Yeah, give me middle of the 8.
The setup looks good for the Dutch, but I don't think it is that
Well,
good, especially that rock sliding behind the tee line there.
if Scotland can get locked on top of this, it's going to take 2 stones to shift things for the Dutch, so this is going to put the advantage to the Scottish team. It's hard when you're calling that shot because you're sweeping it for distance, but you're also going to hold it wide. So you need one result or the other. You either need them locked on or sitting one on top of the other, and they didn't quite get either one.
Line's good.
It takes good communications between the sweeper and the line.
Carl.
Watching the line.
Got it, Carl.
Yeah, they're waiting for this. It's hanging a bit straight again.
It's a little heavier too.
Yeah.
Gotta go, really gotta go, really gotta go.
Just going to get a rub here.
Yeah, so any kind of weight there.
This will be a big challenge for the teams. They're going to have to play as they'd say in Scotland, a really canny weight to try to get that to finish at the end.
Almost a natural weight without sweeping, yep.
Yep, just going to have to throw a dead draw.
Wacht gewoon op het begin. Ja, klopt. Want dat is gewoon dodelijk als je
And
dan
wait
meteen
for it to
zit.
start moving before you put the brooms to it.
Yeah, earlier in the week we were trying to anticipate and jump on to hold the stone straight and then come off and let it curl, and now they're going to have to let it shift direction before they take it for line, or for weight.
This is all part of the game.
Yeah, this is the skill of these top teams, being able to read the ice quickly, try to get the advantage on the opposition and get your stone into a good position before the other team fully understand the map of the what we call mapping the ice.
All sorts of things influence the ice, of course. They could change very quickly.
So Jaap van Dorp with his skip stone,
Hold on.
seeing if he can take advantage of that miss by Scotland. I think he's attempting the same shot here to get locked on top of his own
Af dan
stones.
maar.
Again, waiting for the swing. It's coming very late.
Bijten, Dolly.
The weight looks good now.
Bijten, Dolly, niet dieper. Nee, joh.
So I want it to finish here.
Again.
Okay, a little bit back at the tee line again. It's very, very keen ice down that center.
Would have almost been better to end up top 12 foot in that situation.
Just let it, just let it slow. So Scotland are going to try this again. Really take the weight down and try to just tap that back a little bit. Make sure there's 3 red stones, so that if the Dutch try to remove their shot stone, there's something to jam on.
They've tightened up this ice at least a foot now.
Yeah, they were on the red stone before. They've moved in quite a bit. They're going to have just enough weight to move that to the back 4, maybe back 8. They don't want to get rid of that backing because that's their safety. So many of these teams now cross discipline and play mixed doubles. And that really helps the advantage because mixed doubles is a touch game that's all based on the forefoot. And it really does help them when they come back to their team to be able to play those very, very sensitive shots just on the forefoot. Nice and close to the guard. This looks like a much better shot. He's going to come right into the pocket, yep. No, I still didn't get that quite right.
Red still shot. And certainly Jaap has a chance here to throw exactly the same rock and maybe get the weight right this time.
He's got 2 stones for backing now, so if he can get locked into here, it'll be very hard to shift.
Now we've seen, what, 4 or 5 rocks down that path and nobody's made a shot.
So they're taking a little bit more ice than Scotland took. They're splitting the difference between the red rock and the tighter ice that Scotland took. So if he can follow that exact same line, he should finish nestled right in between that yellow and red stone. They're on it already. So
Moeten zijn, helemaal daar. Jep, lijn. Jep.
He's throwing that quite a soft weight.
Yeah, it's
Yep,
quite a
chip
bit
and
shorter
roll,
than
chip
his
and
last
roll.
one.
Hard, hard, hard. Roll him low, hard,
A
low,
lot
hard.
shorter, no, and he had backing to throw to, so that should have been a consistent weight. Even if he was a tiny bit heavy, he would still have locked in there.
I'm actually thinking we just got it for one, Ross, I think, because you're coming in this side. That's going to lock for second. I think we just play it down. Yeah. Yeah, just a straight draw to the hole. Just edge.
It's a makeable shot.
Yeah, it certainly is. Dave's having a good look at that.
So,
He's been glued to those binoculars this weekend, stone spotting opposition teams.
you know, here, less weight.
So last rock here for Ross Pedersen.
Okay.
In the second end, needs to
We've only got the
get full button here to outcount that
Well, if it was ever a good
Dutch
thing to get-
shot rock
get
at the
Mike
back of
the
that button.
Scotland were quickly looking to see if they could get a 2 out of this, but I think that's too tricky. I think they're going to be happy with their 1 and walk away with
Well, the
one
danger
on
of
the
throwing
board.
any kind of weight here is it will run straight.
I think they're not trusting it. They're just going to go for their 1.
Makes sense to me.
Line's good.
And still have to make it.
Line. Oh, line's good. Mike. Whoa. Mike.
This is
Mike.
looking like it's hanging a bit wide. They're going to try to steer it in now.
Weight looks
Go,
alright.
Carl.
Yeah, here it comes now.
Close, Mike. Yep, hard, Mike.
This looks
Hard,
great.
Mike. Really
There
hard.
you go.
Take it right in.
Boy, Ross.
Great shot. Perfect control.
Good sweep.
So a score of 1 for
Oh, sorry.
the Scottish team here in the second, and that gives them a 1-0 lead.
Yeah.
Forced to take 1. And Dorp will now take the hammer, going in the third here in Champéry at the World Curling Tour Champéry Masters.
That was a really important end
I want
because
somebody
they've played a lot of draw shots. They've really read the tracks of the ice now. They know what the stone's going to do. If they put a extra weight, it's going to hang a little bit wide, so they're going to have to be really almost dead draw to get the finish at the end. So there's a lot of learning taken out of that end if they're going to play more aggressive ends to come. It's a good view of the 2 games in progress here. 2 semi-finals. It's all Swedish affair on sheet C. Team Marburgs versus Team Edin. Know each other obviously very well.
Well, what are you throwing? Throw my one. Yeah, I thought second.
About halfway through the last end, Malbergs finally probably started believing that he might be able to make this semi-final. Certainly
you-
had no control of that game last night.
You just heard Greg Drummond say, what 1 are you throwing? The teams work before the event and during the event to match up and read their stones. Greg will know that his particular stone reacts in a particular way, so he's got Mike to switch and throw his numbered stone.
Line's good. Needs to go. Line's really good. Outside. Line's fine.
Each one of these stones has a slightly different characteristic. Where it curls a little bit more, it might be a bit faster, a little bit slower. Over time, the stones develop their own characteristic.
Are you going to throw my one? Oh, you're going to throw. I want him to throw it to test it out.
So there you just heard him say, I want him to throw it to test it out.
It's number 8, Ron.
Number 8, so that's the last one of the set, which is obviously Greg was throwing and he's going to need probably later in the game, so he wanted to really have a look at the swing and finish. He'll probably go back to throwing that stone again now that Mike's tested it for him. Carlo Glossbergen just signaling that there's a bit more rotation on that stone. It's going to be harder to finish it off.
Hard. Hard. Hard, jongens. Alles hard. Yep. Hard.
A little bit more rotation on the stone. Traditionally keeps a little straighter, runs a little bit deeper, but that's come up quite a bit short.
Yeah, well, it's too short.
Let's just treat it as normal.
So Scotland are going to test the other path now, come down this other way.
Okay. We're fine. Let's go top tee.
So in December from the 5th to the 10th, I believe, the Olympic qualifying event takes place in Pilsen, Czech Republic. 7 of the 8 teams taking part in those qualifiers played in this event this weekend.
Yeah, we had a complete pack except for the Chinese who aren't here, but the other 7 teams were.
And that's an important qualifier because for 2 of those teams, it would be a berth at the Olympics in Korea.
Yeah, this is only the second time that there's been an Olympic qualification event. The first one was for Sochi in 2014. So you'll have 8 teams come to play. The 2 finalists will go on to the Olympics. So it's a big event in the calendar this year. 7 ladies teams are coming to try for those 2 spots and 8 men's teams.
And of course in the other semi-final we have the Swedish representative at those Olympic Games with the #1 seed Nicholas Edin, who's trying to defend his title here from last year.
Yep. Okay, back line.
He's a favorite going into the competition.
Hard. Back line. Hard. Hard. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Oh, does he get
Whoa,
by? Just
that was a
barely.
good sweep. They got past it.
Yeah.
Oh, laat maar liggen daar.
Got past it.
Denk daar uit.
It's not really the semi-final I expected going into this competition.
The teams are playing, I mean, there's such a good quality of field here this year, and it just takes 1 stone here or 1 stone there to keep you in or knock you out. It's Team Brewster last night playing Van Dorp. Stone just a little heavy and a little wide, didn't remove it, just moved it over to the other side of the rings, which left a draw for 2 in the win for Team Van Dorp. That's why they're here against Drummond, and it was an all-Scottish affair with Drummond against Team Mowat yesterday. Drummond came out on top.
Patterson had to drop one on the button to win that game. Had the hammer, and he was looking at a bunch of Mowat rocks when he threw that.
Lawrence Hochman now
Whoa, back 8, back 12.
coming down with this stone.
Oh, clean him. Back 8.
They're right off, stepping back from this. They're waiting for it to move.
Yep. If you ever get to the inside nose, we can bump it like a foot.
Earlier in the week, this would have been easier to get to the inside. That
Yeah,
guard would have
I
been high
think so
enough that
close.
you'd have got a big
line's
finish
good
after
with this weight.
stone passed.
Like you were there
It's
last
running a little
time,
bit
so
straighter this time with a little bit of weight on it, so it's not quite as easy. You can see there if the stone had a big finish, you could get to the inside.
Forefoot. Well, forefoot.
Okay,
Line.
they've called,
Line away.
sweepers have called the
Oh.
weight to the forefoot, so the
This
skip
way.
knows that the shot is
Slope
on.
up. This
Now they're
way.
just
Line.
worrying about the line.
Freeze. Hard line. Really hard line.
Going hard for line, trying to hold it off.
Really hard. Really hard line. Go, 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 go.
Nice,
Okay.
just to the inside of that. It's a pretty good result. Here comes big weight to try to tidy this up at the front.
Yep. Hard. Whoa. Yep. Yep. Whoa. Whoa.
Oh, good job.
Nice little shuffle around there. That changes the situation.
That took all 3 yellow ones out of play.
Great shot. Was just getting a little bit too difficult there for the Dutch. Get those stones locked one on top of the other. Remember, they're going to try to walk away with a 2 or more from this end, so they needed to open that up and basically start fresh.
Good separation on his own rocks too.
Yeah, they've got 2 stones in the house. This one's a long way out from behind any guards.
Yeah, like
It's open and vulnerable.
For Ross as well, so and it did come. We're looking for half a rock.
They're going to try to take this and roll to the other side behind those 2 red guards. Need to hit it about half a stone.
Off. Off. No. On the nose. Okay.
So they're not going to get the roll on this one. Going to hit it too straight on the nose.
Eigenlijk misschien net achter de T-lijn rolt. Doe maar gewoon nose, denk ik.
Ja, liggen we dan tweede? Wat? Liggen we dan wel tweede?
Ja, makkelijk.
Alright, nose.
So yes, if we hit it on the nose, are we going to be counting 2? Important that player knows what he's trying to accomplish.
Wouter Goggins coming down now. Youngest player on the team.
Komt-ie?
Yep. Oké. Meteen uit. 9, 8.
And I would say average, probably the tallest team in the competition.
Since they were about 14, they showed up for summer camp looming over everybody else.
Drummond would like that roll behind that guard now.
Yeah, this is a big ask. This is a long way across. So never ever they're saying they're waiting for it to swing. That looks like it's going to be pretty straight again, if not the other side. There we go.
Oké. Net achterhoek. Gewoon, ja, half in de achterhoek is eigenlijk ideaal. Oké. Dat wordt misschien mee zijn uit dan.
Moet wel bij de achterhoek. Half en 8.
With every shot that comes down, you learn a little bit more at the ice. You heard Greg say that maybe they should have tried that with the other handle.
Voelt heel hard. Voelt hard.
Easy. Lijn is goed. Oh, nog niet. Schuld nog niet.
Hey, we're getting our own translation. Line is good, and then in Dutch.
Carlo.
You hear the skip calling an individual name. That's because they want that person to take the sweeping to help finish the stone in a particular direction, either hold it straight or try to curl it more underneath. Long gone are the days of the straw brooms where you just beasted into it and did your best to drag it down. Now it's a much finer skill.
That's wide open.
Control. You want to hear more?
Yeah, it's curling a lot less today than it was
We're not holding the shooter at control.
yesterday, that's for sure.
I we want to try and hold the shooter, don't we? Well, yeah, I think we need to. Because if we don't, he's just coming round here anyway. So that's the shot.
The one advantage to slightly straighter ice is that the guards can offer more protection. The ice was quite swingy earlier in the competition, which meant the guards had to be pretty tight to the house, or it was pretty easy to get around them, even with middle weights. So the straighter the ice is, the guards can be that little bit further out and offer protection.
How much do you have? Form hack. Okay. Do you like the same? What do you want, more ice? I think that's good. Okay.
You hear a lot of debate about the weight because they've seen it hang straight if they put anything extra on it, so they're really trying to find the right weight to get this little bit of a finish. You can see a very thin piece of that stone. That sounded like it was up weight. I thought they were talking hack, and I hear close to barrier.
Line! Hard line!
Making the move.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh. That's the first stone we've seen jump over. I think they were pretty happy with that most of the way down, and then it really started to move and they couldn't quite hold it off. A bit too late on the sweeping. I think that caught them a bit by surprise. Well, they've moved that guard over. That stone's now exposed. I think that says it all. No interpretation needed.
No translation needed
No.
either. A really good opportunity here for the Dutch. Just need to get about halfway around that guard, maybe. I don't need to get completely behind it.
No, they actually would prefer to stick out a little bit, so any contact on the stone means the Scottish stone rolls wide and into the open. So they want to they want to defend their stone that's on the top of the forefoot, but they also want to show Scotland half a stone.
Okay, loud terug. Yep. Hard.
Hard. Third shot.
Go, hard.
Josh gets it in. Does it get in enough?
Yep,
Not sure about the back one.
I'm not sure. I can't see the back. He's definitely outcounted that one on the right.
If we can pan down a bit. Thanks, guys. Oh,
No.
a little more. Not possible.
The top, I think.
I don't think he's outcounting the back one.
Water the top, Ross.
There we go.
Please, yeah.
No, my back one is
I give you a
looking.
there and give him
Well.
two, that's fine.
No, it's kind of hard to tell.
It's hard to tell, yeah.
Deceptive, I think.
I know.
Just because of the angle the camera's at, it's really
But
kind of hard to tell.
It's in a perfect spot up there.
They were kind of in about here. Well, we can be safe, can't we? We can be here.
Playing the corner freeze,
Yeah.
or are they hitting?
You need.
They're going to sit just up
Middle eight,
above
go on
that,
with the
so
I think we're close to this. Similar.
I think the microphone's rubbing on somebody's beard.
10, 15.
We take no responsibility for whatever that is.
Maar ja, maar een stukje break. We hebben altijd een drum.
So last
Line's
time
good.
for the Scottish team here.
Line's really good. Line.
I think the best they can hope for now
Line's
is to
good.
hold
Wait,
the
wait,
Dutch
wait.
to 1 to even
Still
up the
good.
game.
Whoa.
They're going
Line,
to come down
line.
and just try to sit on top of this, leave an angle
Line.
that's not able to be
Line.
removed and force them to have to draw for their 2.
It's moving along too. I don't know if it has enough weight. He's going to get past the top one.
Looks pretty light. I don't even think he's going to do that. No, there it's just pulling in. Yep.
So the Dutch sitting 2 will have a draw 4-3.
This takes me back to last night.
What's going on?
Draw for, big important draw for 2. Get ahead in the game.
He's drawing for 3.
3, sorry, I mean. That was really not a strong Scottish stone. I needed to get that in for second shot.
So, yep, Van Dorp needs a good piece, a little piece of the 8-foot. That should be good enough to get him his 3 points, and I think that would be pretty big in this game.
Taking extra ice to make sure they're away from that top yellow stone.
See how good his draw weight is this morning.
Sweepers on it right away.
Moet buiten 8, alleen lengte. Kult weinig, make sure. Vol 8.
Looks all right.
Yeah,
Kult weinig. Blijf
it's a
kijken.
little bit wider line, so you
weinig.
always have to be that little
Alleen
bit
lengte,
cautious
buiten 8.
to make sure that you take it down there. Sweepers stay with it. Yeah, this looks really nice. And there's a nice 3.
So, after 3 ends of play, what was that?
Okay.
After 3 ends of play,
Mooi
the
bal,
Dutch
lekker.
score 3. They take a 3-1 lead. And the hammer now goes to Team Drummond.
The other team's allowed to do that. You're not. They're conceding that the point's good.
Well, usually skips like to finish their draws and see them on the tee line or on in the forefoot.
I think that was a Scottish pad. It looked like a blue pad.
It was Drummond. Drummond pushed that
poked
right
in from there. But yeah, they'd normally like to even watch the opposition stone to see how it finishes up a little bit, pull at the end.
A little frustration there from Drummond.
I think that's what it was.
A lot of character. So we're back here in the fourth end. We're in Champéry, Switzerland, high up in the Swiss mountains. French-speaking part of Switzerland. Not far from Lake Geneva or the Matterhorn. We're in quarterfinal action. 24 teams started this competition. We're down to the last 4. 8 qualifiers last night. We played 4 groups of 6. I'm here with Brad Askew, who is coaching his men's team from the Czech Republic. My name is Armin Harder. To welcome everybody from wherever you're watching. We've got the 24th ranked Greg Drummond on the World Tour list, playing against the 40th ranked Dutch team, Van Dorp.
I've even written down WCT here, so I stopped calling it CCT. It's a habit that's hard to break, but I've had to write it down to pay attention.
It doesn't hurt my feelings if you call it CCT, having nurtured that tour for 15 years.
That's a perfect start from the Dutch. A beautiful top 4 draw. That's exactly where they wanted it. Scotland are now going to put their guards up and try to play an aggressive end here and get points back on the board, level this game back up. Teams should know enough about the ice now. They should be able to take this on a bit more aggressively. Lovely sunny view of the mountains there in the background. It's a shame it's not the one we can see out the window, but
that was taken in the winter, that picture. There's snow all over it.
Clearing up a bit now.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's snow up on the peaks this morning. It was a little chilly this morning and raining. I think that's affected our ice here too a bit. It's a lot colder. And like you mentioned earlier, we're down to only 2 sheets of play. I think you get 6 sheets going. That brings a lot of heat into the ice, a lot of friction.
A lot of bodies. It was pretty busy here this weekend with viewers and players.
Yeah. Had an Asian group come through here a couple of days ago. Quite fascinated with what was going on the ice.
I did a season coaching in Shanghai, and I'll tell you what, when it was 30 degrees and 90% humidity outside, I was pretty glad to get to work on the ice.
It can get pretty sticky in Shanghai in the summer, that's for sure. A great city, though.
Oh, it's a fascinating city. So Scotland are coming down here. They're going to come off this top stone and try to get a roll off to the side. Okay, good, drove it straight back.
Just a quick update in the other game. Not a real surprise, I don't think. Edine has a commanding 5-1 lead through 3 ends. Those guys are very solid. It's funny, Edine, a bit of a slow starter usually, but he usually gets stronger as the event goes along.
Yeah, we've seen that at a number of the events this season. Maybe even losing his first game, even the second game. Or we've played them twice this season, and both times we had a really strong start to the game, and they came back and won the back half of the game. But they're a professional team. They know what they have to do. In the end, they kick up a gear when the games come down to the playoffs, and they just shift and show that world class that they've got. Little shake of the head there, Mr. Drummond.
No, we're good. Line away.
For those if you're not familiar as much with this sport, the sweeper's job is the distance of the stone. The person in the house calls the line. So every shot is a combination of line and weight. And it's the communication between those two that finishes the stone where you want it to go. That was a great shot. So they're going to have to run this back now. It's nicely tucked behind the guard.
Ja, dan word je voor. Wel doen. Oh. Yep. 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 Hard. Hard. Yep.
Jammed it right on the nose. Actually, that's really hard to do.
Yeah, I was just say that's really tough actually.
Normally you just catch a bit of an angle and they all spill, but if they called that shot, it's really tricky. It's a long way to run it back straight on the nose. There's almost no margin of error.
What's your Ruger? Ah, ja, oké.
Ja, ook precies.
Trust that. Right, 05. You got it, Pete.
So you hear the players talking numbers there. They time the stone when it moves between the lines, so they know exactly the weight that's been thrown, and they've asked to throw a little bit more, a little bit less, speaking in points of seconds.
Just D-line. Yep.
Center line won't have been played yet, so they ask for that tiny little bit more to make sure it's there.
Aye, nice there. Yeah.
Okay, it just slips slightly behind the T-line.
Maar normaal hier. Ja, gaat hier wel.
So they're going to take this and roll toward the center.
Dat was mijn gevoel. Zo.
Ja, kan ik een haartje meer hebben of denk je dat het goed is?
I know.
Ja, oké. Oké.
Different lines in your first one that get benefit out.
Nee, normaal.
It's obviously wide and there's a lot of rotation on that stone. It's going to struggle to swing if it is wide. Here it comes now.
Yep, yep. Whoa, whoa. Roll hem low, yep, yep. Hard, hard, hard.
That is a pretty good shot. That's a long roll over. One of the hardest shots in curling because you have to remove the stone that you're targeting and then you have to hit exactly the right angle with the right speed to roll over and stop behind a guard. Very difficult shot.
Wat had hij dan? Was hij echt hard?
It's the first year together, this team, Team Drummond. It's interesting that Greg has been playing vice position for the last couple of years, and even with his own team he's elected to stay in the vice position and call the game and have another player throw the last two stones. So it's obviously a position he's very comfortable in.
Hard line.
Is he gonna get it past the guard? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to get the roll away, and that's why they wanted to sweep that.
Yeah, they wanted to roll a little bit wider there because it's still given the Dutch. That's quite tight behind that guard, so there's only about 2 feet to roll, which is easier to do. The further the distance of the roll, the harder the shot becomes. So they really need to just hit inside of the center of this stone to get the shot they want. But again, they're right off of it, so it's not coming over. Okay, now that's not the result they wanted because it's moved now the stone up one more. So if Scotland get this right, they can be buried underneath that guard and sitting right splitting the T-line. So they really wanted to roll that one a bit wider, so any roll back toward the center would be a bit deeper.
Craig Drummond with his last rock here in the fourth end.
Never off, gotta go, mate.
Skips rocks.
Line!
This looks like he's got the inside roll.
Okay.
Does roll behind the tee line though.
That was a better throw than the first.
Ja hoor, zeker. Nee, deze kant doet er niks.
Perfect steel situation.
Yeah, if they can get this frozen right onto that stone and get the right angle, it's very difficult to move it. Because the Scots only have the option of hitting from the outside. Little discussion with Jaap and his sweepers to decide exactly the weight they're going to throw at this.
Hard on.
Okay, sweepers are on it right away.
Veel weinig.
They
T-line.
obviously
Geen bounce.
oh, they're calling T-line.
Okay, je hebt lijn. Yep. Hard. 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 Hard.
Looks like it's got the legs.
Hard.
Need to drag it down.
Go, go, go,
Big
go,
sweep
go,
maybe
go.
is going to come up a little short.
Needs to be shot.
Goed veeg.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
that's
came up a little bit short.
line.
The sweepers were on it right away, and they were calling T-line, but I didn't think it was.
Line was
No,
perfect.
but why don't you could sit there?
Ja, hij moet gewoon smeer gooien.
That's my gut.
Still not an easy removal. So needs to get to the inside of it.
Nee, ik wil niet.
Double maybe the shout. Sensei's freeze or double.
Yesterday this would have been a
Yeah,
fairly
that's what
easy
I mean.
shot.
It's
It
tough
would have
to
been
get
straightforward. In
one side
fact, you
and
just struggled to hold it off the guard as it was swinging over. But
Yeah, mate.
I think both teams will be a little bit nervous of how each one of these stones is finishing now. So there's a big debate about whether they want to throw weight at this or try more of a touch shot. So they're going to come to just to the inside of that, which means if the Dutch try to promote that, they're going to be at too steep an angle to touch that back yellow stone. So they're trying to put a stone in position to force the Dutch to have to play wider. In fact, if they get this right, there won't be a shot on that raise.
Inside edge 8. So where do you need? Same. Edge 8 probably.
So they're just going to repeat this shot and try to get a little bit bigger finish.
This was our first goal. Very happy.
We're taking a lot of ice, not throwing much weight at it.
I think you're going to see quite a soft release, quite a soft rotation coming down here to try to get the stone to finish just as it enters the rings. So again, you heard them talking about the speed they want to throw.
Whoa. Whoa, that, whoa, 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 whoa. 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 No line.
So this is hanging wide. You hear him saying no line, which means the stone is hanging wider than they were hoping.
Making it move now.
It's quite a soft rotation, so they might get a nice big finish on this. That's
Not got any weight though.
No.
Might just punch it up a bit.
so that's exactly what they didn't want,
No.
leaving a
Ja, ik weet
perfect
dat het
lineup.
eigenlijk-
Double chance here for the Dutch.
Zo.
Could hit it on the nose and
Dat is
sit
ook gewoon
3.
goed
Eh?
goal, sorry.
Double those
I
two
think-
yellows out.
Well,
Okay, tap.
are they looking at just tapping that and locking that onto that button
Ja, dan ben je
stone?
de lul. Ben ik eens.
Deze is hier open.
Nee, ben ik helemaal eens.
Dan geef je hem 3 zeg.
Gewoon tap.
Ja.
Back 8?
Yeah, they're only talking back 8, so they're just going to pop that yellow into the red, into the yellow,
Too
Yeah.
bad.
and sit shot.
Back 8,
So a straight nose hit. I think
Yeah,
those
it's wel
two
twee
yellows are
stenen.
gone. Can keep your shooter in position too. You see the Dutch bench.
Dutch alternate and alternate 2.
A couple of those guys are coming out of gymnastics.
Yeah, more and more the
Yeah.
elite end of the sport is looking to other sports. I know working in China that some of their elite curlers actually started as speed skaters. who they realized weren't going to make it to the top, but they had superb balance on the ice, superb timing, so they moved into the curling program, and they've been very successful.
Yep. Yep.
So saying back 4, and they were looking for back 8. So the sweepers are on it now. It's not quite the weight they were looking for. I think they want this swept. Oh, just caught the top stone. So it was just a little underweight from what they were planning on, because if you're going to move 3 stones, you need it to be back 8. And that looked like, I think the sweepers called it right, it looked about back 4 weight. Just a bit of over curl.
That's why I would have liked to maybe just the normal hit on that front one. Knows it was wide open.
Well, it was really important that they stay off that guard and tap that back, so if you're going to err on the side of caution, I'd have gone for back 12 instead of popping that a little light.
Weight, yeah.
Make sure that you've got enough to move that red stone back, even if you're a little bit wide.
The red one was locked. I mean, it wasn't going anywhere. It was just running back onto the yellow one anyways, no matter what weight you threw in it. Now the angle has changed a little bit on that red, and they can actually pop that red one out. They might lose their back yellow one, but score 2 anyways. Just a nose hit here, I think, would be be good enough to score 2. Has to hit it on the nose or on the inside. He can't afford to hit it on the outside. There might still be a little drag effect there. I guess if he hits it hard enough, it'll go.
It's just such a fine margin of error on this shot, what happens to those stones. So he's throwing big weight. Here it comes now, peel weight.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
He's not going to hit it on the nose. He hit it hard enough though, but he loses his shooter.
A little bit too wide. You saw the sweeper step back from that. They were waiting for it to swing. It needed to hit that a little bit firmer on the face. Keep that second shot.
That gives the Drummond team a 1 in this end, halfway point. And Van Dorp leads 3-2 after 4 ends of play and gets the hammer back to begin the second half here in Champéry.
So we're ready to go with a 5th end now. Scotland are going to put up a guard. Going to go aggressive on this end and see if they can level up the scoreboard.
Line's good. Bit over. Yeah, line's fine. Come down. Good.
There's a center guard.
Yeah. Good, mate.
Nee hoor. Maar 3 achter kunnen we hebben. 85.
So Van Dorp certainly has control of the game now, up 1 with the hammer. 4 more ends to go.
Let's see on left.
So what will Drummond need to do?
Well, they're going to be putting up 2 center guards
Different.
here, but you can see the Dutch are elected to come over to the side here. They don't want to give Scotland anything to work with, so they're not going to draw behind that guard. They're going to take it to the back side, which is not something Scotland can use. So now Scotland are going to want a tight guard on this one, just off the rings and in perfect line on the center line, so they can set something up for later.
Dat is perfect. Ja, maar deze steen is iets traag.
They're really going to need to force a mistake from the Dutch this end.
Tight.
Michael Goodfellow.
Line only. Good valor not. We're good. Pretty good. Probably 12 foot.
At least top 12.
Oh, we're good.
So the sweepers are saying at least top 12. It's a little bit heavy. Looks like,
It's coming up shorter now.
yeah, it's digging in now, which is what they wanted. That's a
Good.
great throw by Mike. And lots of separation between those two. Could be a little bit further over. They ideally want them in a line, one behind the other.
And Dorp asking to remove the short guard.
It's even with the number 3.
It's close enough to the rings that if he gets this right, they can roll in and sit on the top of the 12 foot over on top of their other stone.
Yep. Hard.
Guard that up.
Peg. Hard. Hard. Yep. Hard.
Doesn't have much weight on it.
Okay, Scotland are going to sweep that through. That hit a little bit too firm on the face with the free guard zone rule. That stone is replaced now. You're not allowed to remove those first 2 stones until the 5th stone is played.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a little bit of a break for Scotland.
You got it, mate.
They were hoping to hit that thinner and just roll their own stone into the rings and move that other stone off to the side.
So Malbergs does come back with a 2 in the 4th end, and that game is a little closer now, 5-3. After 4 ends of play, but Edine has the hammer with that 2-point lead. So certainly in control in that game.
Looks like a wall of red stones to hide behind for Team Edine if they can get this in behind and take advantage.
We'll be showing that final game between the winners of these 2 games at 12:30 today.
So this is a nice stone for Scotland. They managed to get it pretty well tucked in underneath it there and in a nice line behind the guards. So Lawrence Hochman now is going to come and try to pick off that top guard. Oh, sorry, the center guard. There we go. Now they're allowed to remove it from play.
Back 4.
So the reason they're calling this back 4 is that if the Dutch freeze on top of it, there's still room for 1 more stone on top of that.
If that. 6 feet. 8 feet. Pretty close to seeing.
Gregor Cannon, the youngest player on this Scottish team.
They're working hard on this, having to drag it all the way down. And hear the effort that's put into this sweeping. Just didn't come as deep as they wanted.
But breathing is important as you're doing those 40 meters.
It's a lot of work spent with specialist fitness coaches, so you can recover quickly from this. If you've got to sweep that stone all the way down, it's a huge effort, driving your heartbeat up to around 180. And if you've got to turn around and then get into the hack and throw a lovely little delicate draw weight, it's a real fight to bring your heart rate back down and your breathing back down so you can control that adrenaline.
Very, very much comparable to biathlon. Having to ski and then shoot.
Whoa! Heck!
A little twitch of your hand and that rock is going in a completely wrong direction.
Yep! Ice firm!
He's got one of them.
Okay, they managed to get rid of one stone and still keep both of theirs in the rings, even though we hit that a little wide.
Now that rock is on the button is in a far better steel position for Drummond, of course. Generally, you don't steal much being in the top of the 8 foot.
So again, they're going to want to come around halfway around this stone, leave a bit sort of sticking out, protect that one that's on the edge of the button.
Line's good. Go then. Lots of line. Lots of line.
So you're hearing Ross Patterson
Right,
call
wait.
the sweepers
Where are we?
off,
Bring it back then. Yep. Yep.
waiting for this stone to swing.
Gotta go. Gotta go. Gotta get past that. Whoa, 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 whoa.
It's coming deeper than they were hoping for.
I didn't make a call trying to get past. Never.
So this gives a chance for the Dutch now, come off this and rest right on top of that other stone. They're saying either hit it full enough to rest on top of that stone, or if we have to, we'll come across to the other side. But they don't want to leave anything there for Scotland to work with. Walter Goggins here, big shot, could turn the end if they get this right. Calling the sweepers off, waiting for it to move.
Hard job, Carlo. Okay. Ja. Ja, ik weet niet. We hebben hier echt helemaal niks aan.
So Drummond are probably going to look now at coming off this stone and bringing theirs back to the center line.
Oké, wat jij wil. Ik weet het. Ik denk dat dit er wel beter is.
Yep.
You can double those out and roll behind the center guard, eh?
Yeah, I think that's what they're looking for. He's having a look to see.
Okay. You happy? We're going for the roll. Nose is okay.
So they're ideally wanting to roll this, but he's saying nose is okay.
Close. Line. Gotta go. Whoa. Line. Keep going, mate. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Good shot.
Over curled.
A little bit too much, yeah. You hear the efficient communication going on from either end. All he needed was the word line to alert the sweepers, but that could be a concern. Something else that's practiced with these elite teams is communication. Not too much, not too little. Just a really good, efficient exchange of information between the sweepers and the house. And often the person who threw the stone, for good measure, they'll have an opinion.
Whoa! Whoa! Up! In! Yep! 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 Roll him low! Get low! Stay out.
Okay.
Still leaves the center guard up there, which may be required by Drummond afterwards. Just a good shot.
Yeah, that was the penalty to be paid for over-rolling that stone. He set that double up.
Perfecte ronde, toch? Ja, die kaart zo hoog, dus kwam volgens mij altijd heen. Ja, je wil gewoon terugrollen zo ver mogelijk naar buiten. Ik zat hier zo rechts van mij.
Line!
Dat hij niet snel.
Line!
Scotland are going to have to work hard on this now because the Dutch have got nice separation on the stones. If they hit this one on the nose, they've split the house. It's very hard to get to both stones at the same time. Angles are important because if you set up just the right angle, there's a possibility of coming across the house for a double, but at that distance it's a very tricky shot. The way these stones are set up at the moment, it should be a straightforward score of 2 for the Dutch, as long as they don't make any mistake.
Af, ik zweer het je, nooit.
Unfortunately, what happens sometimes in this situation is you hit and roll out, which means you leave your one stone defenseless, like that. Now Scotland can attack that back stone and clear the house completely, so the 2 is pretty much gone. And that's what they're going to do.
Yep. Yeah.
It's so frustrating as a
Same
team
way.
when that
Go
happens
back here,
because you've
forward on the
got
last.
such good separation on the stones, you're almost guaranteed a 2, and then that little roll to the outside and it's all gone. No way back. So almost always a blank end.
Yeah, you want to take advantage of those because you may not get a chance in the next end.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Great shot, just hanging on the back. Now what Scotland are hoping for, Jaap is going to want to take this and clear the end. And he doesn't want to hit it on the nose, and that's what Scotland are hoping for, is that mistake. Wouldn't be a tragedy to put one on the board. It puts the Dutch 2 ahead, but still they're going to want to keep the hammer and hope for a bigger score than that.
I think so. Yeah.
So they're certainly playing to blank the end.
If you just score 2
they're
and
hard.
6, it might be better anyways. Last rock
Hard
here.
sweep on this.
And he
And that's
hits
what
it
you
on
didn't
the
want to
nose.
happen.
And that forces, into 1. And the Dutch, with that 1 point, take a 4-2 lead after 5 ends of play.
Some fist bumping going on there with the Scottish team. They're happy with that result. 2 stones ago they were facing a split house and a probable 2. And now they walked away with a force of 1.
Een beetje spreiding houden, spelen.
Let it set up. Just finish it off. We're on the other side of the shot there as well, so we'll get this time.
And here we see 4-2 after 5 ends of play. Curling Masters in Champéry. Yeah, we're about to get the 6th end underway. World Curling Tour coverage continues. We're in the semifinals. 24 teams started, 8 qualifiers, and we're down to the last 4. The winner of this game will take on either Edin or Marburgs, both teams from Sweden. Currently 17 events going on in the tour this weekend in all different categories: juniors, wheelchair, men's and women's elite, and mixed doubles.
Yeah, it's a busy weekend.
Yeah. And we're coming up very quickly on the European Championships in St. Gallen. I think we can't miss discussing that very quickly. Here in Switzerland, St. Gallen, northeastern part of Switzerland.
Yeah, less than a month away now.
Yeah, and you'll be all set to go there. Both your teams ready to go.
I'll be back with the men's and ladies.
Should be a very good event. Looking forward to going up for a few days myself. A and B groups being played in St. Gallen. The A group in the ice arena, and right next to it the 5-sheet curling club. And we have a completion here. Did you see what the...
I didn't. All of a sudden I looked up and all the stones were being brought down the ice.
So might have been a score of 3, I believe. 2 or 3. They were sitting 2 or 3 a rock ago. So that's Edin. Quick process there with countryman Marburgs. That young team did very well to get to the semi-final. I think that's one of their highest finishes on the tour so far.
They haven't put the last end up on the scoreboard, so I'm not sure they're just signing for their game now, but I don't know what happened in that 5th end.
They had a very interesting game last night in their quarterfinal against Pfister. Stole 3 in the last end to win that game, putting them through to that semi-final. So they'll take home 5,000 for their efforts, and I'm sure that will end quite some points on the tour ranking. Might move them up a little bit. Edin, of course, in the final, still able to defend his title, which isn't quite clear yet.
It's good.
Still lots of game left here. Drummond versus Van Dorp.
Both teams struggling to get their stones into the right position here. Both of those Dutch stones, which should have been top 4, and they're at the back. Guard's a little long for the Scottish team, so that must be showing, I can't see the angle, but they must be showing a chunk of that stone. Yeah. Oh, yep. No, they got pretty good. No, yep. That was a good shot.
Van Dorp looking to clear this guard.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Lorenz Hoekman throwing peel weight down to clear this front guard off and open up that side. There we go. Nice shot. Roll right away on the other side. Greg Drummond will be looking to replace that.
He's guarding that rock, and it's second shot.
Always a little dangerous to guard a single stone, because if they don't get this right and it's picked out, they've left a guard for and nothing behind it, which means the opposition can use it.
Go, Mikey. Really gotta go.
So the stone sounds like it's a little bit tight because they're calling Mike on the inside to sweep this one, try to hold it a bit straighter. It's pretty long.
Yeah, another long one. I think they can get at it with the out turn.
Yeah, it's having a good look at that, seeing which way they're going to come on the outside of this stone.
You can't see that much of it.
A little earlier in the weekend, you could have come around that, caught it on the inside, a little roll in behind that guard, but I think that's going to be a slightly bit trickier this time.
Danger here of flashing this. We saw a shot like this yesterday from Tom Brewster. Ended up losing the game to Van Dorp because he just touched it instead of removing it. Not throwing a lot of weight at it.
Working hard on this one. It's obviously pretty close to the guard. That close to the guard.
It was very close to the guard, yeah.
Well, at least they've chipped that over out of the way, so it's fully visible now. If you're going to plan B, move the guard. The mistake is to throw wide and not move either stone and not improve your situation.
Let's move that guard a little closer to the center. Drummond will now try and play around it.
Take advantage of that. Try to sit top 8 behind that guard.
Very close. Yep. I went for weight.
This looks like a pretty good shot.
Great shot.
Yeah, really nice shot from Gregor Cannon. Well swept, well judged. So the Dutch are going to now come looking at coming off that stone, hitting rolling. Or are they going to come to this one?
Als je dat doet, moet je deze eruit halen namelijk. Ja, ik zie net niet eens een kwart. Oké, deze. Yo.
Yep, so they're going to come for the hit and roll.
Oké, duidelijk.
And there's a fair distance here. This is a tricky shot. Really hard to finish behind that stone. If they hit it too much on the face, they're only going to roll a little bit to the inside, which gives Scotland a chance to then use that for the same shot.
Yep.
See the hands go up there. They're not sure what's going on. The line's not what they're looking for. No, just no swing. I think he over-rotated that. It's going to make it a challenge for it to dig in and swing over.
So, Greg indicating he wants a freeze on the back. Rock. Ross putting the broom down. Drummond skipping and throwing third rocks. Will go down and make his shot. Wants to freeze down to that red one in the 8 foot.
I've seen Team Brewster have come in and they've taken up good viewing position at the side of the rink, watching 2 of their previous teammates playing here. Mike and Greg have been together for a couple of years. And Scott Andrews and Tom Brewster, previous teammates.
Line's good. Line's good. Freeze. Line. Whoa. Line. 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 Gotta go. All right. Where are we?
Sweeping hard for line, keeping the angle correct on those back stones.
Weight's looking really good. It'll be pretty hard to remove that.
Deze gaat denk ik nergens heen. Nee, dat denk ik ook niet.
Could be hitting. Not often that they're in the semifinals, so a little bit of nervousness there maybe. It's all part of the learning.
It certainly is. You need to test yourself at this level. Win or lose, you take away positive things for the next time.
Yep. Yep. Hard. Hard. Yep. Whoa. Yep. Shooter. Rol hem weg. Yep. Gewoon helemaal weg. Ver mogelijk, Carlo. Okay.
So that's It's opened up the centre of the ice, gives them a few more options.
And easy. You know, if you ever come here,
You can make
it's a
that.
very easy
You can
double.
make the hat greater for fun for us.
It's like our options.
We don't see much else. I think we just gotta get third shot.
You happy with that?
Yeah, I'm even cool with being open, Ross. Cool on the 8 foot. We don't need to be buried.
I'd say almost back to he's better.
Yeah. Okay. That's
You
fine.
you happy with that?
Well,
Aye, it's going to leave,
we're
we're
going to
going to leave a
level.
double
We're
either
leaving
way.
a double anywhere, unless we're level.
So that's the A shot here.
Didn't do a ton when we threw the corner, guys.
Okay. You happy with that, Pete?
It's a real good opportunity now for the Scots to get a third rock into play here.
Yeah, they really need to walk away from this end with at least a 2. Get themselves leveled up back in the game, give themselves every chance at the back 2 ends. It's always an advantage to have hammer in the 6th end and the 8th end. Gives you 2 cracks at a big score versus 1 for your opposition. So they're going to want to walk away from it with this one with at least a 2, hold the Dutch to a 1 in the 7th end and come home with advantage and hammer.
And as we discussed earlier, the Drummond team very efficient in their force percentages. Very high force percentages.
This level, it's very important to control the scoreboard, swing the hammer back and forth, and always try to keep it to your advantage.
Left to double.
That's fine.
Yeah, a little deeper than they wanted. But not an easy shot.
Oké, dus gewoon controlpiel.
Yeah, they're going to have to go for it because the Dutch have got to try to. Scotland are sitting 3 now, so the Dutch have got to try to remove 2 of these with 1 stone. Give themselves every chance to hold Scotland to 2 for the last 4 skip stones. I think it must be a little bit chilly up on the bench. We can see the Scottish psychologist over at the side doing knee bends, trying to stay warm.
Wondering what did I sign up for?
Close. Yep. Whoa. Whoa. Off.
Big weight coming down here. It sounds like it's a bit wide.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It was
hit,
close.
Yeah, hit it too full. It was a good attempt, but it hit a little bit too full.
Yeah, my advice would probably be 3 here, just so we can't play a freeze. You know, if we go too wide, I don't think he will, but
Yeah.
I think we can play it to the middle of the 8.
T-line.
Really nice.
Again, this is part of the skill, thinking
yeah.
2 or 3 shots ahead.
For
What are we
going
going to
round the
play, and
corner,
then what are the
I think
opposition
we can
going to
go
do with
to
it?
the Ross and be quite good.
T-line.
We're in the T-line, guys.
There's no double there either because that guard's up there. Eh? Well, might be, but pretty tough double.
T-line. Is it 10 or is it 05?
This again is part of the skill of the elite game, is determining exactly where they want that stone to finish. To cut out as many options as possible for the opposition. Often it's a matter of centimetres.
T-line's perfect, boys.
Ross has had pretty solid draw weight all weekend, so this should be a straightforward shot for him. But still has to make it.
Go in.
I can hear top 8. Sweepers are just
Line's really good.
Never
not
off.
putting full force on it. They're bringing it down now.
Our guys got a really good one.
So
Come
the
on,
line's
push.
really good. They just need to get this finish where they.
Come on, every end. Every end.
They
This
want
looks like a
T-line.
yeah, this looks
Go,
light.
go, 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 go,
They
go.
want T-line.
Yeah, it looks light.
Go, 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 go.
Not even second or third. Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not even 4th shot. So, but Scotland's sitting 2 with those yellow ones.
It's an uncharacteristic light stone for Ross.
Yeah.
He's usually pretty good at that T-line weight.
Ja,
Again, coming off the center, it might just be a little bit slower path. It hasn't been swept quite as often.
We see the
ja.
Scottish
Ja, maar volgens mij als je...
coaching.
Want je hoeft
Team.
hem hier te vriezen, want dan stuft hij hem ook weer daarom.
Might be able to get around that guard, get enough of that yellow one, push it back, and then roll
Kijk, als je 2 pakt is
to
nog
the
oké,
middle.
toch?
Ja, maar daarom wil ik juist eigenlijk niet de freeze gooien.
Oh, oké. Ja, we kunnen ook gewoon dit doen.
Ja, precies. Dat zou ik bedenken.
Oké, doen we dat.
Dit is natuurlijk ideaal eigenlijk.
Ja.
So the options they've got are to freeze on it or to hit and roll.
Ja, maar dan heeft hij toch diezelfde bal.
Ja, precies.
Dus
Ik
volgens
denk
mij,
dat je dat gewoon
volgens
niet
mij
wil
moet je
doen.
gewoon
Everything now is about making sure that Scotland doesn't walk away with more than
Maar 11 dan.
11?
2
Oké.
points.
Not sure what the final call was there. Looks like a draw. Freeze.
Wider, that would be incredible.
Wait till we see when the brush goes down.
Je ziet toch wel minder. Je ziet toch wel minder, Wout.
Ja.
Gewoon
I think he's
Okay.
looking to push that
Dus
back
hier
in a
ijs?
little roll. No, he's taking a bit more now.
Alright, hek.
So it's hack weight, so they're going to move this yellow stone and roll toward the center. Try to get a nice line on that back yellow stone.
Yep!
Called it right away. Might be tight.
Yeah, I think this is over swinging. They're really fighting this one down now. Really fighting it. Oh, big mistake there. Big mistake. That was obviously turned in
Ja.
right out of the hack.
Now a chance for 4 maybe.
That's going to be an expensive mistake, I think.
And they could maybe split the top yellow one. Or they don't even need to, they might just come down back one.
They're having a good look at all the different angles and the distances and seeing what the best shot is. Yeah, that was a big mistake, catching that guard.
That'll cost 4. All they need to do is move that right red one back a bit.
Yep, that's good.
Sitting 2 at
Here,
the
I lose
moment.
control.
Only that one red one
Boys, let's
at
go.
the back of the 12-foot biting the 8-foot that's out counting the yellow one on the top.
Yeah, there's a great chance here to take complete control of the game.
Ross Pedersen.
Line.
Last rock here in the
Line.
6. Possibility
Hard
for
line. Really
4.
hard. Never off. Gotta go.
Working
Gotta
hard.
go.
I think they want to play yellow onto red, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice
And he
shot.
gets it. And
Great shot.
4 points here in the 6th, and that gives 6-4.
If there was any
Lead.
doubt about curling being a teamwork game, that proves the point. Everybody involved in making that shot.
So after 6 ends of play, Drummond now takes the lead. 6-4.
4-5, you're right.
The hammer goes back to the Dutch, and they've got some work cut out for them in the last 2 ends here in Champéry.
So we're kicking off N7 here. The Scots will be
Line's good.
totally
We're good.
focused on making sure that this is no more than a 1 for the
Really
Dutch.
good line.
They're really going to work on forcing this
Stay here,
end
line.
and holding it to a 1 and taking hammer into the last
Get there,
end
Phil.
with
Help
a
me.
1 point advantage. So you'll see the Dutch putting guards up now, trying to get something to build up a big scoring end.
Great, mate. It's the first time we've really come in.
pretty straightforward first few stones here. Corner guard for the Dutch, and I think their second stone will probably be a corner guard as well.
Out. Scheelt heel weinig, jongens.
2,
Oké, Jip, kom er allebei door.
2, 3.
Jip, kom er door. Oké, goed geveegd, jongens. Lekker.
Okay, good throw. And Scotland will come down on top of their stone into the 8 foot, 12 foot, 8 foot. Want to keep a nice line there.
Yeah, more, same. Line's good. That's fine. Yeah, I think the line will be fine. How's line? A little bit wide. Wider than I like. 8 foot. Yep.
Okay, looks like a good shot.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, I see it in there.
tiny little bit deeper and a little bit wider than they wanted. Yeah, and as I predicted, the Dutch are going to put their second corner guard up. What they're hoping for with 2 corner guards is that they need a miss out of the Scottish team when Scotland starts to try to peel these guards out. If they get a miss, they can come around behind, get something going here. Scotland's job this whole end will be to keep this as clean as possible, give them nowhere to hide and nothing to work with.
2.
Eén links, jongens. Lijn.
2, 3.
Oké. Maar steen, Carlo.
So here we go. Scotland's going to start peeling these guards off.
Oh. Good.
As Armin said earlier, the Scottish team has got a really good record this weekend of force efficiency, which means they're able to put their stones in a position that holds the opposition to only 1 point. Dutch replacing that corner guard. The only option they've got now is to put a few of these attempts up at corner guards and hope for a miss from Scotland.
Helemaal.
Iets krap. Oké, clean.
So Lorenz Hoekman playing a guard to that left side of the ice, trying to keep them nice and level so there's no option for Scotland to remove 2 of them at one time,
Helemaal.
which can be done.
Oké, dat is oké. Ja, klopt.
It's almost too far over.
Yeah, that's only guarding the very edge of the rings. With the ice swinging the way it is here now, the ideal position is just off the rings and just at the border between the 8 foot, the white ring and the blue ring, the 8 foot and the 12 foot. Okay, the Dutch again replacing this guard. If Scotland keep up this peeling ability, then at some point the Dutch are going to have to make the decision to start playing into the house, so they need points on the board. This is the 4th stone coming down, so there's only 4 stones left.
2.
Schuld veel minder.
2, 3.
Wel de hoogte.
Ik clean hem wel. Nee joh man. 2, 3.
Oh, af dan.
Oké, 3. Helemaal.
And don't forget at 12:30 today, we'll have the final.
Nee, is wel te
That'll
clean.
be Edine, who's waiting on the sidelines now to see
He's
who
not in. No, it's not in. Okay.
wins this game. And Champéry Masters, and they'll be playing for 14,000 for the winner. Swiss francs. 9,000 for the loser in the final.
Clean. Hard. Hard. Oh, he's going fine. They're fine, you're fine. Good.
Scots are in a good position here. They've got the easier job in this game. on this end. They get to play the big weight. Now Yap's decided to come into the house now. They're going to try to get something secure under that corner guard, although it's a long way over. You saw that the Scots were playing on the one that was the better guard, leaving them with this one, which means they're going to have to be right over to the edge of the rings to be safe. The ice always falls away more from the centre line, so if they don't get this in a good position and leave part of the stone exposed, it'd be Scotland able to either peel the guard or take the stone out of the house.
Lijn is goed.
Oh, lijn.
Lijn is goed.
Lauw, lauw. Lauw.
Oh, lauw, lauw.
It's a tricky shot because it's right over to the side of the rings. Hard to judge. There's not a lot of blue paint over there. It's easy to be short or long.
Shit. Overcurled.
Oké, mooi steen, Wout.
Yo.
Okay, that's pretty much the best you could have hoped for. Right on the tee line. We'll have to wait till the camera angle changes to see how much of that's buried. Oh, pretty good shot. So Scotland know that they pretty much, that the Dutch have to play into the house now. If they want to get points on the board, they need to deal with those two shot stones, so they'll take this guard off and take the fight into the rings.
Oh, we missed it.
And there's the mistake that the Dutch were waiting for. Should be a pretty straightforward shot to throw big weight at that, but every once in a while it hangs a little bit straight, just misses. And Dutch threw a beautiful come around draw there. Both of those stones in a perfect line, so he didn't touch either one of them. Often if you miss the guard, then the stone in behind that's sticking out a little, you get the advantage of at least taking that one out, but he missed both of them.
Are you going for the top one here, or the back one?
I think he's drawing over to the side. I could see him in the house and he's throwing an out turn, so he's coming over to the left side.
Go behind the guard.
Yeah, they're going to try to stack another one up above that, a little bit
Alright.
higher. Really protect that side stone.
They're going for 3 now.
It's a very, very, very aggressive shot.
Yep. And this is looking a little warm too.
Yeah, this has got legs on it, as we say.
Shit, man.
Don't think you better get it behind it. Doesn't want to set up a double. Wants to stick around though. Oh, it just hangs in there. Turns out to be a pretty good shot actually.
Ja, gooi gewoon hetzelfde en hij blijft iets langer recht, toch?
Come on, like 3, where's it go?
Ja, klopt. Ja, dat
So this is what I was talking about earlier. You can see that back stone. The Scots from the hack could see a little bit more of it. So if you do miss that peel, you very likely take the one in the house.
We're down
Do you have on the high side?
Gips Rocks here with
Alright.
Ross Patterson about to throw
That
his
was
first
more
one.
than there. That's the end progresses.
I think so.
I think Scotland are looking at coming down into that corner and lying 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look for Broom.
Oh, he was taking there. He was taking. Yeah.
It's got to be close to
We
that.
can be safe as well. He was missing that by a long way. I was getting that last one, had it 13.5. Speed's good.
So you hear them saying 13.5. That's the speed the stone travel between 2 hog lines. The skip usually records
I
that
think
with
it's
his
the call.
stopwatch, so he
Happy?
can keep track of the change of speed of the ice from end to end.
Just get a T line. No. We'll give you 10, we're good.
Ja, dan ben ik wel.
I think there's a little bit of nerves going on up on the coaching bench. There's 2 people up on their feet having a little stretch.
Ross Patterson, first rock here, playing 4th stones.
Whoa! Close. Line is good. We've got to try and lock it. Mike.
Line weight looks pretty good too.
Yeah, and it's nice finish. It's coming over
Line
now.
down. Lock it if you can. Yep, yep,
This
yep.
looks
Hard
like a
line,
great
hard line,
shot.
hard line. Come on.
It's very
Great
good
shot. Great shot.
Takes those 2 right out of play.
Good boys.
Ja.
I do feel for Dave Murdoch sitting up there on the coach's bench. He's used to being on the ice where he can actually actively participate. It's hard to sit back and watch and wish you were sometimes down there.
He's got to learn that now.
Yep, that's a new skill for him to add to the
New skill. Yeah.
add to his range.
Is dit niet heel weinig?
Ja, dat is wel genoeg aan de back 8, denk ik.
Oh, right.
Ietsje meer.
Of course, he'll never miss a shot sitting up there.
No, you're
anymore.
100%. You're always 100% curler on the bench. You always know the right shot, and you always would have played it a little bit differently.
Hindsight being 20/20.
It's a good old Scottish saying: the best curlers are the ones behind the glass.
Een haartje meer mag ook nog.
Yes. And let's just say it's 13-4 for me. Oh well, just trying to.
So the Dutch are going to need two really good skip stones here. Scotland are sitting in the advantage.
Yeah, Van Dorp.
Whoa. Whoa. Clean him. Yep. Whoa. Clean.
They need really good
Oh,
position
okay,
out of
off.
this shot if they're going to put any pressure back on Scotland.
Loud. Yep. Nu. Hard loud. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think that had the effect that he wanted to.
No, that's a pretty straightforward shot now. Scotland will come down off the centre line and take that out and roll a little bit toward the centre. Really start to lock up that scoring zone in the forefoot.
He might end up with a pretty tough shot just to make his one in the next with his next rock.
Well, we've said this is a good forcing team, and we're seeing that in action right here.
Aye, just run nice here.
Okay, pass is on tight.
He's throwing a lot of weight at it.
Yeah,
Line. Hard line. Hard line.
Whoa,
as long as they hit inside of that, and there we go. Actually, they would have wanted to stick around a bit more in the centre line. That's a straightforward shot, but still, the goal of this end was to force the one, and that's looking like that's what's going to happen.
Ja, dat is wat ik...
So last rock here in the 7th.
The Dutch facing 4 yellow stones.
And Dorp needs to put it on the button.
Really good. Thanks. It's a better swing
Make
there.
sure he gets his one.
Ja, precies.
Taking a little bit tighter ice because he knows he's got backing here as a
Dus
fallback.
de rap is te veel. 500ste.
The last rock in this
Ja,
end
moet op de
underway.
pin. Alleen lengte.
Trying to stay in
Lijn
the
is
game.
goed.
Joop niet.
Van Dorp.
Oh, lijn.
Sweepers are just
Loud.
cleaning it, so they must be happy with the speed.
Geen bounce.
And I can
Geen
hear
bounce. Alleen lengte.
call from the house that the line is good.
Oké. Carlo
looking
voor.
alright.
Carlo. Yep. Yep. Yep, lijn. Yep.
Good weight.
Yep.
Yeah, great
Nice shot.
shot.
And that's one for the Dutch here in the 7th. That takes the score to 6-5 for Drummond, but Drummond here in the 8th will get the hammer. So one up, coming home with. Very good position for the Scottish team. We're here
Hey boys, really
at
good
the
luck.
Champéry Masters
Same again, yeah.
in Champéry, Switzerland. And we'll be back with the 8th end very quickly. Port du Soleil region,
Sorry, nee,
Champéry,
1 top hebben we
Switzerland.
net afgesproken.
We're in the
1-2.
Palladium here. Lots of curling been going on for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Mixed world doubles were on, or mixed worlds were on just a week ago. And now we're here with the Masters, the World Curling Tour. We're into the 8th end of this semi-final. Edine already fixed for the final, so the winner of this game will face Edine, the last year's champion.
Hier.
And Drummond in a
Helemaal niks.
bit of a comfortable position
kom maar,
with a
Aartje.
1-point
Yep,
lead
yep.
and last rock advantage
Kijk,
here in the 8th.
Alright, mijn bal.
So the Dutch will
Ja, dat is goed. Lau, blijf
will
hier.
need to steal
Hey, we're good for this?
to force an extra end.
Yep.
And we'll see a soft peel attempt here from Michael Goodfellow.
Whoa.
To just try and move that red rock off the
Wide.
center.
Whoa. Whoa. Line.
This is a
Hard line.
specialist shot that only lead players
Hard
play.
line. Hard line.
Most of the world calls it a tick. Some countries it's a chip shot. And that's how you play it perfectly.
Michael.
Great shot. With the free guard zone rule, only the lead has to play this shot. They can move the guard over, but it can't be put out of play or it's replaced.
Is hij zachter? Kan nog niet.
Hey!
Moeten we
Oké.
Heel weinig. Eén. Yep, corner. Hij is over. Yep, short. Moet 2. Yep, hardlijn. Hard. Hard.
They had to work hard to get that one over the hog line.
Just fairly long guard.
Yeah, that's a little bit further over. Go for same, mate. Okay. No.
So Michael Goodfellow seeing if he can do this again.
Close.
Closer to the hog line.
Yeah. Good few feet. Some off throw.
This will be a big shot for Scotland because if they can move this guard again, it puts a lot of pressure on the Dutch to try to build something up for this end.
Very similar.
Yeah, maar just a
Whoa,
hair leg. Really close.
Curl. Don't curl. Hard curl. Hard curl. Over. Get it in. Good sweep. Get her in. Great shot. Nice end, Michael. That boy. Good.
So the Dutch are looking to replace that guard, but now of course we're past the free guard zone shots, so Scotland could just throw weight and start peeling them out.
They'll have to get this one high enough also to maybe get any possible jam on the clearing. If it's too close to the house, they'll be a lot easier to clear.
Hij is goed. 1. Kijk, heel nog niet. Oh, kijk Wouter. Iets voor. Hij is helemaal 1-2. 1-2. Oké, af dan. Oh, ik moet hoog blijven. Oh, anders heb je er niks. 1-2. Nee. Nee. Hij moet gewoon hoog. Oh. Hoger is beter. Je hebt ook wel gewoon meer.
Yeah, there big man.
Ja.
Okay, now Scotland are just going to start ripping these guards out.
Oh. Wait. Good. Ah boy.
Ik denk dat het zelf komt. Jij ging best wel hard op het.
Sorry, that one was me.
Getting your bling in the
Got
way.
my hand too close to the mic. Trying to look out the side window here of the broadcast booth.
I think you have to, if you're playing against a team that's got good
No,
tick
hey.
shots, you want to get your guards about the middle point, eh? So when that they're a little
No.
bit further
No,
back
no.
after the tick,
No.
for a possible jam. Now they got to really get those guards high up there.
Hij is hoog.
Yeah, they want them just up in zone 1, that scoring zone. That's a nice position.
That makes that clearing a little bit more complex.
You see Greg looking at the stones on both sides, because you don't want to bounce off one of those and bring it back to the center.
No, and usually the rolls right to the button when they do that.
Well, off. Good.
Unfortunate with that one.
Those are chances. You're so unlucky to stuff like that in the ring.
Yeah, well, don't speak too soon, Ross.
You're gonna have to translate that. I didn't quite
He
catch
said
it.
you got to be pretty unlucky to stick that one in the ring, jam and stick that one in the
I've
rings.
seen it happen so many times.
Exactly, that's fatal last words.
Je kan met mijn tweede dat doen, toch? Of niet?
Denk het niet.
Pretty unlucky is sometimes part of the game.
Daarna dit.
Ja, en dan heb je daarna nog een steen.
Ja.
We saw that last night with a spectacular accidental
Right, yeah,
15-foot
goed,
run back. By the
Heb je
Swiss
gewoon één
team
extra
Pfister.
ruimte.
Ja, is goed hoor. Gewoon top 4 toch?
Ja.
We're getting to the point now where the Dutch are going to have to rely pretty much on a miss by Scotland for this, because the centre scoring zone is completely open. There's no guards.
He's drawing around the corner guard, isn't he?
Yeah, he's coming to the other side of the sheet.
Clean. Gold nu.
Carlo voor.
Carlo.
I think he's going to steal out there.
Hard.
No, there won't be any pressure on there.
Should have been another. Probably should have been another center guard, or maybe one back of the 4-foot or something like that.
Judge, quick that at the peel. Well, I think we're better to peel in the guard. Judge, is it makeable on the in-turn? Like, what is it to lock? It's a long way to roll on the out. I don't really like the in-turn, if I'm honest with you. 3/4 is really good, though. Yeah? Like, just whatever you're happy with, Greg. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Scotland want to keep the front of the house as clean as possible, give them a straightforward entry to the scoring zone for their last stone.
Third Drummond, skip, throwing third rocks.
Good.
Clears that long corner guard off.
Klein tapje mag.
Jo. Nou, ik gooi gewoon zelf de lengte.
Ah. Kan je zelfs ook voor spelen.
I don't know, this
Ja, dat
trying to
kan.
force
Dat je
Greg
dan
to
2 ligt.
draw to the 4-foot, or draw to the
Ja,
8-foot
back 12.
for his last
Je
rock.
moet hem
I'm
eigenlijk
sure he's not too
naar de
concerned
back
about
8
that.
tappen.
Oh ja, is goed man.
Back 12, backline.
Ja. Ja.
It's a little inexperience here, I
Yeah,
think.
I think you're leaving the entire outfoot open, or 8-foot open for Scotland to do whatever they
He'd
want.
take that any day, wouldn't he?
Yep. Everything about the end when you've got the hammer is leaving your skip a path to the 4-foot for their final stone, and at the moment that's a pretty big path.
Clean.
Yep.
Clean. Oh, clean. Carlo.
Hou de lijn!
Hey, Lau.
Hou de
Lau.
lijn!
Yep. Yep. Hard.
Hard!
Hard.
Hard! Hard!
Maybe he's forgotten that he has to steal.
Well,
Ja, we moeten echt de lijn houden.
you can't rely
Rely.
on a miss, that big a miss.
Yeah,
So
like,
Scotland
then
are just
only
going
really
to
want
keep
to roll a
this
foot, don't we?
8-foot as
Yeah.
clear as possible. They're going to. Are they going after one of these two guards, or these
Well,
two
wait,
side
like-
stones to roll in? Which one's he looking at here?
From
Coming back
control.
to this side.
Or might as well take the easy one.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Don't give them
Yeah.
any option of a jam.
Yeah.
They're just going to play weight at these to make sure that they've got a draw for their final shot.
I'll get it.
I'm almost thinking here the Dutch forgot that they don't have the hammer. You have to steal.
Oh,
There's no guards out front, so the Dutch have got to remember that they actually still even have to be sitting shot with their last stone. If they're not, then Scotland don't even play their last stone because they've got a 1-point advantage here.
I don't want to leave a nose in him curving around the back yet. That's fine. I don't want to leave the nose there.
Maar eigenlijk als je hem hier freestep kan doen,
Ja,
dat is ideaal.
maar daarom je wel haartje aan de binnenkant, zodat hij hier freeze.
I bet you Drummond's really happy to see them discussing
Yes,
those rocks.
and they're happy to give them loads of time to chat
Ja,
about
ik denk
sticking
wel-
something else over on the side.
Niet?
Ja.
Backhand. Ja, backhand is ook goed als je denkt dat het
Ja,
genoeg
ik denk
is.
backhand. Want zelfs als je alleen maar dit doet, is het goed, hè? Want
Klopt,
die
je hebt
rolt dan
gelijk.
hierheen, dus dan heeft hij toch
Backhand.
niet die dubbel.
But you never know which way these games are going to go. I was watching a game in Scotland with Team Nicholas Adine and Team Carl Smith, and it looked like a pretty hopeless situation for Team Adine. There was nothing left in an open house. Kyle just missed a centre guard and then tried to outdraw and came too deep and handed the game to Team Adine. So it's not over till it's over.
We saw that last night. The Dutch being, sorry, the Marburg being down 2, stealing 3. Stranger things have happened.
They certainly have. That's why we keep coming back. Because as we say, it's not over till it's over.
Oké, clean. Wow! 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 Gewoon cleanen. Oké, af. Af.
The Dutch down by 1.
Off.
Need to steal in this
Off.
end just to force the extra.
Wachten. Helemaal niks.
That's just going to push their red one second,
Yeah.
third shot.
They're still only sitting 1.
So,
This isn't going to be light.
thanks that one.
Ross Patterson having 2 rocks to go. Probably feeling pretty good about himself at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice to look down and see all that white paint.
Line. Hard line. Okay.
So, what is Jaap going to do with his final stone?
Just indicated a hit off the yellow and roll to the middle. What's Patterson going to play if he rolls into the 4-foot, in the back of the 4-foot? Will he play the hit or will he play the draw?
Gewoon naar de
I think he's probably pretty comfortable with either. Depends on where this stone finally sits, whether he wants to play a firm weight and just knows it, or whether he's just going to draw down with backing.
That's assuming that Van Dorp is going to make that perfect hit and roll. Last rock here for the Dutch in the 8th end.
Close.
Need a good position out
Whoa.
of this one.
Yep. Yep. Whoa.
They're on and off, so they must be pretty happy with the line so far.
Hard. Roll him, roll him, roll him. Go, go, go.
Okay, so
mooi
that
bal.
leaves pretty much an open 8-foot for a draw for the win. No, they're going to come down and just sit on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, like, thick half's good, obviously, but just give me the same.
It could
I
even
have to
roll
go
to
the
the
same.
outside
Yeah,
and
like-
that got that stopper
yeah,
on,
normal.
right? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
What weight?
So,
Normal.
pretty
normal.
comfortable here. Just the only
If he
thing
knows hits it, he wins. If he doubles, he wins.
the only mistake he'd do is over curl.
Normal.
Even if he's slightly inside, he's got a long way to roll.
That too.
So he's got a little room for error here.
Last shot here in this semi-final. The winner of this will face Edine in the final. Ross Patterson.
Oh. Clean.
$4,000 shot here. 4,000 Swiss franc shot.
Calling just for a clean, so they're pretty happy.
Oh, but it was good enough because he's up by 1.
Good luck. Good luck.
Didn't even need to stick around. Doubles that out, and Drummond moves into the semi-final, or into the final. We'll face Nicholas Edine. That game will go on at 12:30. So we got a bit of a break. We hope you enjoyed this game, and we hope you come back for that to the Champéry Masters here in the Champéry World Curling Tour.
The one before, I was like, let it go. I was like, we're fucking fine.
Brad, thank you very much for joining me in the semi-final here.
It's good to join you in the broadcast booth again. Always enjoyable.
Looking forward to a good final. So 12:30, folks. Nicholas Edine from Sweden against Greg Drummond from Scotland. And we'll see you in a bit.